no matter what place you are in life, you can decide to change that direction and stay locked in and committed to it. One of the most important lessons that I've learned in my recent years in life, and one of the biggest challenges for my YouTube channel, is clarity. Is finding clarity and really figuring out, defining that direction. So thank you guys who have been coming along with me since you probably found my California beach camping videos. That's where I started popping off a little bit. And some of you also came along as I almost bought some land to build a tiny home on. And I've been able to break down this vision I have for my own life into 3 things. And I want to tell you a little bit about them because there's a direction that I think we're all going to resonate with really well. The algorithm doesn't necessarily, I've done the research, it doesn't understand how these tie together, but I know that you'll get it. So yes, I desire to buy that piece of land to set up a tiny home and create a place where I can bring out, starting out with divorced men who are fighting addiction and are in a place that's similar to where I was when I began this journey, and to show them the mindset and help them really choose the direction of their lives. That's one of the goals. Another one of the goals is to take the Suburban, which I love, I'm proud of what I've built, and it's got a new engine and transmission, so there are more adventures ahead before we upgrade. But I want to go to the next level, get a vehicle, a little bit more ground clearance, a lot more living area, climate control, refrigerator, stove, microwave, maybe bathroom and shower, not sure yet. I've got the vision of the vehicle, I already know the parts, I know how I'm going to build it, but I'm not willing to give up freedom to do that. I'm not willing to go into debt. I'm still paying off the engine and transmission from the last one, and that's part of the reason why I'm back here in my hometown suburb of Wichita, Kansas, building instead of just out adventuring, shooting more videos out on the ocean and crazy things like that, but hey, life's not all just about doing fun things every day. Sometimes we just got to put our head down and put in the work. And I'm getting in amazing shape too. I got an upcoming video, man, I'm getting jacked while I'm home. That's all I do is work and work out. I don't do anything else. So those are 2 of the goals. And then the third one, which really hasn't come into this channel, is to spend some time abroad. And I'll know in the next few days the way taxes are going to go, if this is a possibility, and it's looking like it is. And there's some more things that I have to work out with my freelance work clients, some big details, but I'm looking now. I want to go abroad. I've been trying to figure out the perfect place. Southeast Asia has been the goal, and it looks like the time of year that I want to go, Thailand is probably going to be the target. Right now, at this moment, Phuket looks good just because the flights out there, round trip flight, 4-month-long trip. I can get a 6-month digital nomad visa. 4 months is about the slow time for the clients, so I'll probably go over there to Phuket, which is an island on the west side of Thailand. Probably do that for about 4 months and create a whole lot of content, keep working for my clients, but on a little bit more limited basis. And I still have to pitch that to them too, and see if they'll buy it. But I mean, I did a lot of this work for them out on the beach in California, and I made it work well. We created some amazing things while I was gone. So 3 goals: buying land that I can have comeback camps for men on, building a tiny home. Goal 1. Goal 2, building the bigger, more badass version of the Suburban, the next step, Burbo 2.0. And 3, going abroad. Although those are in reverse. I think one of the important things, like I talked about, is clarity. Well, now that I know those are my 3 goals, I don't want to get distracted by anything else. And just kind of like this YouTube has, we'll talk about that more. Getting clarity here has been, oh my goodness, it's been a challenge. If I just had the right idea and the right focus at the right time, this thing would have already taken off. But that's okay, because these are the dues I have to pay in this process, and nothing that's worthwhile is supposed to come easy, or you won't treat it with the reverence it deserves. And I'm building my future, and I'm going to have an impact on this world. And this channel is going to be the foundation for all that. So priorities: clarity and priorities. I know the 3 things I want to do. Well, what are the priorities? Makes a whole lot of sense to go abroad first. That's something I can do within my timing, within my schedule, within my budget, and in one way or another, the content will help this channel. Even though it might confuse the algorithm more than help for a while, it will help me create more clarity too. Maybe I'll go a totally different direction. Maybe I'll just end up traveling abroad for all this, because, you know, what I've learned is that yes, land, home ownership, that's the American dream. That's also not a productive asset. That is a store of wealth. A productive asset is one that actually compounds and actually develops in value versus just tracking with inflation. So now that I've been able to break my mind free of the idea that I'm not successful until I own a home, or I own land, or I'm building a home on the land I own, I can continue to live beneath my means, go have an amazing life, and continue to invest and develop assets that both track with inflation and hold value and are productive assets. So to me, it makes an awful lot of sense to take advantage of this place I am in life right now with the freedom I've got to head over to Phuket this winter. That is what I'm working on. Now, these are big, lofty goals, but the crazy thing is, you know, as hard as I've been on myself for the last few years for all the things that haven't worked the way I would have wanted them to on paper, I've done everything I've ever wanted to do. I dreamt about motorcycles. I got into stunt riding before YouTube and Facebook were a thing. I even made it into a DVD they used to sell in Walmart and Best Buy. I wasn't the best stunt rider, but I was good enough. You know, that's pretty dang cool. And before anybody even knew about stunt riding, I was out doing it on big 1000cc V-twin bikes, stuff, you know. College, I didn't even really want to go to college. I just didn't know what else to do. I suck at the classroom. I hate school. I got through it. You know, I lived in a ski town for 7 years. That was one of my biggest dreams in life. And I did it until didn't want to do it anymore. You know, there was a marriage and a divorce involved, and I still do go back to Summit County. Part of that place is my home. I've never felt more at home anywhere else in terms of the culture, in terms of how I fit in. But I've also never felt like it was more impossible for me to become a true part of the community as I became priced out of the real estate market during the time I was there. I could have afforded it like when I first got there, but life wasn't at that point. And by the time I could have actually gotten into the market, it was no longer available. But that's okay, because like I said, there was a divorce, small town, and you ever been around a place like Breckenridge, then you understand that you don't lose your girl, you just lose your turn. So it wasn't much point in sticking around there. So why do I make videos like this? You know, there's such a small handful of you that are really interested in hearing me rambling about my own life. But I'm telling a story here. And in 10 years or 20 years, whenever it may be, this channel is going to be something amazing. I'm going to have a true impact. I'm going to be making a difference and have cool stuff that's entertaining and inspiring for people to check out. And what I'm doing is I'm documenting the journey so you can see where I was at, see the process. You know, I'm looking real forward. I'm coming in on 1,300 days of fitness and nutrition. I'm on day, I think, 41 of a 97-day diet. Getting just the most shredded I've been in my life. I never thought I would get to this point, and I'm excelling every single week. I can tell a difference. And there's a story behind that. You know, it started out with a defeated, divorced dude with a really gnarly addiction to alcohol. And I don't even know my number anymore. I'm closing in on 600 days since my last drink. You know, I want to be able to lead from the front, to show people what's possible, to show where it all started. And no matter what place you are in life, you can decide to change that direction and stay locked in and committed to it. It's not easy, and it's not comfortable. Good things don't happen overnight. And it took about 3 years before I truly saw the momentum starting to really pay off. 3 years since I stepped into the gym, and it wasn't quite a year yet since my last drink at that point. But I was able to start seeing it in the mirror, to start understanding the self-belief that I was earning through action, through consistent action. I wasn't just not drinking 5 days a week. I quit drinking. I wasn't just focused on fitness. Most of the time, fitness became my life. I wasn't just eating better 5 days a week. Everything that goes into my body is planned and regimented. And over time, you start doing these things for years, you start to prove to yourself you are exactly who you say you're going to become. You are exactly what you wanted to be. But this stuff doesn't happen in a matter of weeks or months or even a couple years. A few years. I'm not quite 2 years past the last drink, so that was the game changer. That was the game changer. I think Doggy's coming to talk to us. 190 days since my last cannabis. I'm not 100% sure that's out of my life forever like alcohol. I'll never drink again. I say that all the time. I'm never drinking again. Weed wasn't detrimental the same way alcohol was, but I can see a positive benefit from a completely intoxicant-free life. So, I said I'm taking a year off that. I say I'm going to do something. I do it every single time. And that's something that I just know now. So now, would it matter if I smoked weed at day 190? Yeah, because I would be breaking a promise to myself. And then all of this self-belief, all of this confidence that I've gotten out of keeping promises to myself, out of doing uncomfortable, hard things, out of making sacrifices, out of not missing, that would all be gone. So I said I'm not smoking weed for a year. I'm not smoking weed for a year. I said I'm never drinking again. Never drinking again. Now, I didn't start out that way. I started out saying 6 months because it was just too scary. It was too hard to do. I'd tried it before. But 6 months was enough that it was uncomfortable, and I had never done anything like that. And at 90 days, I said, this is the first time in 26 years I've gone 90 days without alcohol. I made a 6-month commitment to myself, but I want to keep it going. So I'm 90 days in, but I'm committing to a year right now. And by the time I hit a year, I said I was done forever. Look, I want to be able to help you do that. Whatever that thing is that's holding you back and keeping you from becoming the best version of yourself. It's keeping you from the life that you desire, that could be out there for you if you could get the self-belief that you need to get there. I want that for you, and I want to be a part of this journey for decades to come. Another thing that might not make sense, but if you haven't seen it yet, closing in on my mid-40s, like I talked about the stunt riding, I was a downhill mountain bike coach. I can never ride wheelies on bicycles, but guess what? I committed to doing that, and it's awesome. I'm getting it down. What an amazing feeling. I remember when I was young, just the first time you hit the big jump that you were so scared of and you land it, the first time you get the trick. The first time I figured out how to do a wheelie at like 3 miles per hour on a big 500-pound V-twin motorcycle. I get that joy again, learning how to ride wheelies on a bicycle. I'd never figured that out yet. And fortunately, I've got some prerequisite skills, so it's coming to me quick. But man, going out, finding those things that made us genuinely joyous as a child and making sure to integrate those into our adult lives. There's a difference between joy and pleasure, and joy is amazing, pleasure is fleeting. So, next time you're thinking about going and eating a bunch of really unhealthy food, or getting some booze that you don't need, or pursuing whatever vice that is not helping you become the best part of yourself, not moving you towards the best future. Start to find a way to redirect that and pursue joy instead, whatever that may be for you. If you're a man ready to make your comeback, join the Kombaxx community on Discord.